Yeah, a bit later today. Behind schedule. Sorry, folks. Very important business to attend to. Just threw up from a bong hit. That's awesome. That's how you know. That's the only way I can even feel it anymore. I have to be projectile vomiting. I'll take like one rip at the side of my bed and just like throw up all over the wall, and then lay over my side and pass out. And then I'm Gucci. About to go to bed. Yeah, don't let me stop you. I'm just, you know, we got 200 more years of this to go. Just think of this as stream 1,000 of 156,000 streams. We're just getting started. You like the immediate high edibles, you gotta wait. Yeah, I'm not familiar. Hey Danielle, what's up? We got 10 stories. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. What have you been up to? How's my day been? It was a good day. Honestly, did not do much. Did I? What did I do? Oh my god, I literally, yeah. Just various things, but I've been addicted to this game called Vampire Survivors. Have you guys heard of that? It's actually, it goes pretty fucking hard if you ever get a chance to play it. And you can play co-op with friends via Steam's Remote Play, which is even more fun. What am I wearing? I am wearing khakis. As you should. When you work for State Farm like me. Are you gonna stream until you're a geriatric? You know, probably, I guess. Which is only about a year away, so. Have you played the Friday the 13th game? Joel from State Farm, yeah. I haven't played the Friday the 13th game. Is it good? Yes, I love Vampire Survivors. This is a bullet heaven game. Dude, it's just like, it's so insane. Like, I played it probably at least 10 rounds, you know? Which each round is like 30 minutes. And initially it's like overwhelming, but then once you get it figured out, it's just this weird mix of like intense but like relaxing, which is kind of like this music we're listening to. It's like your brain's operating on like two wavelengths of just like trying the intensity of like the seizure-inducing shit that you're seeing, but then also the fact that all you really have to do is just like walk around and just avoid getting fucking melted. But it's awesome. I sound like Carson Daly. Hey guys, welcome back to MTV's Top 10 Countdown. Just came from vacation. Anything happened in the US while I was gone? Not much. Not much different. What was it? The new Venom movie came out. I haven't seen it. The big orange. The big orange. The big orange. The big juicy squeezable orange filled with vitamin C. Help your immune system. Immune system. Probably the best immune system probably ever. You took up weed again and cigarettes? Liz, don't smoke cigarettes. I mean, weed's one thing, but cigarettes is just gonna make you stinky. Joel Twump. Did you guys know that Trump stans Luna? A lot of people don't know about his personality, but his son Barron got him very heavily into K-pop, and Trump absolutely stans Luna. I sound like, yeah, it sounds more like salad fingers. It's a perfect mixture. Imagine a Trump salad fingers. I'm going to build a wall. Barons. I know, dude. It makes you wonder, like, how the fuck did that happen? Like, who in Trump's family produced historically had like a 6'9"? Like, it's almost like glaring. It's like glaringly strange. Just out of nowhere having like not to put the kid down because I'm whatever, but it's like a literal cave troll behind you on stage. I'm gonna look him up. Baron Trump. Just a fucking massive monster. Because it's like he's still like a young kid. I think he's over 18 now or whatever, but I mean, do you remember? It doesn't seem like that long ago that we, went through like 2016, where he was just kind of like a shy little boy in the background, and then just over the course of that time, he became like a fucking Spartan super soldier overnight. Terry, welcome back for 30 months. Says, good afternoon, Joel. Reddit stories, please. Let there be a stalker who gets shot in the bum. Prayer hands emoji. You may just manifest that, Terry. You just wait. And Babes, thank you so much for the butter, or for the 5 gifters, buttering my biscuit and my sock. Welcome, Debbie Long, Sean Reddy, going on tour, Midnight in the Ocean, and YR. Welcome, friends. You now have access to bonus content. You a fan of Terrifier? I saw the first 2. I still haven't seen the third one yet. I'm sure I'll catch the third one at some point here. I just like randomly watched both of them one night just because, fuck it, it's Friday. Is your account working? It is working. What's up, dog? Not to put the kid down. I'm sorry, I don't know how else to describe him other than he looks like Karimi Abdul-Jabbar. It looks like he should be like taking the tip off from Yao Ming. He looks like, he kind of looks like he helped build the pyramids, you know what I mean? Am I gonna see Heretic? I haven't even heard of Heretic. What's that about? Alright, see you, Jade. Take care. Terrifier 3 is so bad it's free on YouTube. No way, really? Already? How did they make it bad? I mean, the other ones weren't good, but like, how easy is it just to like get a little bit better? Wait, is it actually on YouTube? I don't see it. Terrifier 3 full movie playlist. I don't know. Yeah. Is a thriller out this weekend? Oh, okay, what's it about? Are you the secret 5th One Direction member? I am, yeah. We are mourning the loss of our dear leader. Why was I honestly didn't know anything about One Direction at all. So like when that kid died recently from falling out of a building or whatever, why was everyone ragging on him so hard or like kind of making fun of him being dead? I get dark comedy, but I was just curious what happened. All your conspiracy theories are right. They're always right. They get even more correct whenever they lock you up in a padded cell. They do that so that you can't tell anybody else about them, because they're so true. See the Terrifier. Saw Venom 3 HD here on YouTube free. What? How are you getting these? Do you just search it up, or is there like a subreddit or something that like you watch it until it gets taken down? Oh, I see that. Yeah, YouTube Movies and TV, you can rent it. Or no, that's Terrifier 1. Mike and Ike, welcome, or thank you for the 5. Says, what's up, Joel? How's your night going, man? It's going good. About to read some of my favorite Reddit stories. What are you doing, Mikey? Some of us are trying to sleep to your voice. You can do that. You don't have to worry about me. Should we just get into it? Do we got everyone here? No worries about yapping. Song name? I can link the... It's currently it's called Rebirth. Rebirf. Rebirth No More. No more, no more. What's on the menu? Oh, it's gonna be sweet and delectable. And it's all $1. Alright, let's go. Let's go. We get the Thanksgiving background going. That's the centerpiece at your family's get together. Your crazy uncle made it. Have I heard of John Bellion? I don't think so. With who dat? Hey Heather, missed you. I haven't been able to catch live in a while. Yeah, I was gonna say, seeing some familiar faces tonight. And Sully, thank you for the 5, says present. Sully. Is it a turkey spreading its legs? It might very well be. It's a great point. Buried upside down. Alright, my friends. Let's get spooky wookie dookied. Halloween never dies. Get some background noise real quick with the recording so I can remove it later. 10 seconds silence for the troops. All right. Joel, will you play my friend's song maybe at the end of the streams? Yeah, I could. Yeah, if you're still around, I'd take a listen to it. Or if we get bored during a song or during after between stories, we got 10 of them, so we got lots of breaks here to get distracted. Last year, I started law school in Los Angeles. Los Angeles, Jesus Christ. Last year, I started law school in Los Angeles. I have never lived in a big city before, and I was really excited to be in a massive city with over 4 million people. And ever since I was little, I always knew that I had a half-sister in Los Angeles, but my parents had this weird anger toward her that always made it feel sort of like a taboo topic. Of course, I looked her up on social media and I knew what she looked like, but that was about all. We had never actually met, and she was never that active on social media, so there wasn't a lot that I could see. Out of nowhere, one day in my first year of law school, I got a friend request on Facebook from my sister. Her profile seemed legitimate, and she had Facebook friends, and her profile picture looked like her. She sent me a message inviting me to a little dinner party at... Wait, make sure I'm... A dinner party in L.A.? No more parties in L.A. Honestly, it would be like a dream of mine to figure out how to create a game, like a game like the Vampire Survivors game, because it seems so simplistic, you know what I mean? Like it just has just a perfect sort of gameplay loop to it with a degree of like, I don't know, maybe I'm just addicted to like gambling games, but this game does have like random loot boxes in it. Not that you have to buy them, but that you get them while playing, and it just like gives you random stuff. And maybe I'm just obsessed with collecting gems and gold. Maybe I'm just a little goblin that lives in a cave or something, and I need all of my shiny stones. There's no movement in this. Yeah, it's raining, and it does like blur in and out. What game? Yeah, I was talking about Vampire Survivors, but yeah, just been addicted to it hardcore the past couple of days, and I'm like, dude, because I think the dude has sold over like 12 million copies or something, and it's well, you know, I'm kind of curious now. Chat BBC, how much did it cost to create Vampire Survivors? Wow. Estimated to be around $1,500. The developer, Luca Galente. That's crazy. And how much did it make? Vampire Survivors became a massive indie success. Wow. $15 to $20 million in revenue, dudes. Like, imagine that. Take your $1,500, learn how to make like some game that has just like a very addicting loop, and make 15 to $20 million. And there's no bullshit, there's no storyline, there's some story stuff to it, but not really. You know, it's just gameplay, and I feel like that's all people really want. It's just a good game. They don't care about like, you know, there are some games you want to get lost in the immersion of the story, but I feel like those are far and few between lately. You should play Terror Dome. It's so good. It's basically just Mortal Kombat, but more indie with all the slasher characters. Oh, interesting. Been watching the moon very closely for 18 years. Staring directly into it, going blind. Getting a graveyard tan. I'll watch more of your gameplays. Nice. Yeah, I do hope to do those more often. Like, we played that one indie game recently, and it seemed to go well. We were having fun. We beat it. It's like 6 hours. And I think that if we, you know, I probably wouldn't play something like Vampire Survivors where it's just like repetitively going from, you know, just nonstop going. Because honestly, it's one of those games where if you have like photosensitivity, you could probably have a fucking seizure from it. Because you're just staring at fucking like lights flashing the whole time. She sent me a message inviting me to a little dinner party at this park with her friends. We could finally meet each other for the first time. I was new to LA, still am, and I had no idea which parts of the city to avoid at night. I was so excited about that idea, but I had a lot of anxiety about it too. It would be nice if we met and totally clicked and became besties for life. But what if we ended up sobbing like we were in some dramatic movie scene? What if I tried to talk with her and she just didn't click with me and she started showing me an attitude? Or worse, what if it's all going well until we have some kind of disagreement, someone said something hurtful, and then we both began crying in front of everyone? Honestly, if she suggested a cozy little bakery for desserts instead, I would have gone. But going to a park with other people didn't feel right. I thought it was like such a precious moment that I didn't want to have in front of all these other people. I couldn't bring myself to go, and I didn't want to risk having a meltdown in front of other people. I was worried about how messy it could get. A few weeks later, I Googled that park just to see what it was like. Maybe we could meet up there together, just one-on-one. And that's when I learned something was wrong. Now, I won't say the name of the park, but anyone who's lived in Los Angeles for long will tell you that it's not a safe place for girls to be having a dinner party, especially at night. The area surrounding that park has very high violent crime rates. It's controlled by gangs. Even people who do illegal business in that park are forced to pay a tax to the gang in exchange for being left alone. And so now I was really concerned and curious. I actually tried to get a hold of my sister myself. She was an undergrad at the time, a local college. I had a friend who went to her school, and I asked my friend to reach out on her campus and ask her if she'd be okay with meeting us. They connected, and the three of us met at my friend's house. It was great. We got along so well, and my friend was also very happy to do that for us, and the three of us had so much fun. And we weren't bursting into tears, but we let out a few, and we had dinner, we watched a movie, and we spent the night at my friend's house. When I told my sister about that whole thing, she said that she hadn't used Facebook since high school. So clearly, someone was impersonating her. I would have told her to report the fake account, but apparently it had already been deleted. She knew that she had been impersonated on social media, though. Another one of her friends had been scammed by someone pretending to be her, and it was some scheme involving fake concert tickets or something like that. Someone had been impersonating my sister. They knew that I was in town, and they literally tried to lure me into one of the most dangerous parts of LA at night. I have no idea what their motives were, and I don't even know if I want to find out. Meeting my sister after all these years was a beautiful thing, but the whole backdrop was terrifying. Donnie Darko vibes. Is it? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I guess a little bit with the color scheme, maybe. Cody, what's good, dog? Would you rather have an extremely deep voice or extremely high voice? Probably the deep voice, honestly. Sometimes people have like such a deep voice, they sound like a creature from Lord of the Rings. Wart, wart, wart. Booga, booga. Oh my god, this one's long as fuck. Holy shit. Hey Heather, what's up, dude? Alright, we'll try it. That movie trailer voice. In a world. In a world. I feel like there's like a TikTok creator or something like that. I'm not really on TikTok, but I see their videos like migrate over to Instagram eventually. And she always talks like this. It's always like a little bit of a baby voice, but she's like a grown woman close to 30 years old. I don't know why. It just makes me sick for some reason. You thought Michael Jackson was a woman back in the day. He might have been. You know what I'm talking about? I don't even know what her name is, but she just always makes it. And I can't ever tell if she's like playing a character or that's actually her voice. I don't know. Fran Drescher. Let's see. Oh. Wait. Oh, from The Nanny. I mean, like that voice is very annoying. That was definitely a big turnoff to the show. It's crazy to think that there was a whole ass sitcom show that went on for years and years with just her, and she was like the center focus of like the comedy of it. Even as a kid, I was just like, what the fuck's going on with this shit? This isn't something I would normally post, and I hope I don't regret it somehow. I saw someone briefly mention this subreddit in a YouTube video and thought that it would be the perfect place to share a story of a horrific thing that happened to me, a story I've never told anyone. I'm not sure if anyone will see this, but I'm sharing it in hopes that it will inspire someone to stay safe or... Damn it. To stay safe... Oh. I'm not sure if anyone will see this, but I'm sharing this in hopes that it will inspire someone to stay safe. Safer than I was. I'm not sure if trigger warnings are needed or suggested here, but just out of consideration of others, I'd like to warn everyone that I will be briefly mentioning assault with as little details as possible. 1 year ago, around this time, I was bored and scrolling the web, nothing unusual for me, when I decided to go on Omegle. Omegle was a now shut down website that allowed you to talk to strangers via video or text chat. It was around for a long time, and I used it frequently when I was younger as a time waster. There were plenty of creeps on there, sure, but I've had an equal amount of pleasant interactions and conversations on the site. On Omegle, you could type in tags, basically keywords that describe the type of conversation or person you're looking for, and you would match someone with the same ones. I always used alt for alternative. I feel like it weeded out a lot of rude people and connected me to more people my age, and for reference, I was 19 at the time. I connected with someone who called himself Kane, and we started chatting via text. He said he was 23, and I said my age back. We exchanged some small talk, and before I knew it, we were talking all night. And I mean all night. We lived in the same time zone, and I had stayed up until 6 a.m. chatting about philosophy and life and our interests just because he was entertaining and I was having fun. When we were talking about our general areas that we live in, he said abruptly, "We should meet up sometime." I laughed, but it turns out that he was very serious, and it turns out we only lived about 3 to 4 hours away from each other, so he was actually considering this. I'm an anxiety-ridden person, but for whatever reason, I thought that this might be a normal thing due to the fact that I just spent hours and hours talking to him and I didn't pick up on any red flags. I said sure, why the hell not? I know, this is incredibly stupid of a mistake to make, and I have a big heart though and frequently make the mistake of giving others the benefit of the doubt. And so just like that, we started planning a camping trip. He was set on doing it just days after that morning because that was when he was off of work next. I agreed because I didn't have anything to do at the time. I asked for his number so we could talk somewhere else other than Omegle about the trip, and he gave it to me. I texted and noticed the messages showed green on my phone, and this indicated that he was using a Samsung or Android phone. And teasingly, I said something along the lines of, "What's up with the Samsung?" And after a few minutes, he texted back saying that he had 2 phones and that one was for work. And that was the first red flag that kind of went off in my head. Why would he need 2 phones for work at his age? I mean, of course, there's possible reasons, but it just set off that sort of intuitive feeling, one that I regret not listening to. I asked what his job was, and he said that he worked for the state. He added that he really isn't allowed to share details about his job because he signed papers saying that he wouldn't, and that he could get fired if he were to violate this agreement. I was still wary of this, but I just figured that he worked for a police station or the town council or something to do with law enforcement, and that I was probably overthinking it. Days passed, and the day for our camping trip approached quickly. He wanted to take me someplace close to where he lives, Nimham Mountain. Nimham Mountain. That is, a camping trip right out the gate on meeting someone is kind of insane, for sure. Chocolate Mountain. Nimham, I don't know what the fuck. Nimham? How you say Nimham Mountain? Oh, Nimham. Alright. Yeah, hey, you just met me. Let's go alone into the woods and sleep in the same tent together. Days passed, and the date for our camping trip approached quickly. He wanted to take me someplace to where he lives, Nimham Mountain in New York. Don't worry, this isn't near my house at all, and I don't really care about violating his fake privacy after what he took from me. Obviously, I wanted to do at least a little research about where I was going, so I popped the name into Google, and a bunch of results popped up about the soil on Nimham Mountain being contaminated with arsenic due to the old mines in the area. All of the government and state articles that I read said that it was still safe to hike there and that you should just wash your skin and shoes after hiking. I still had a feeling of unease about the whole thing, though, and I texted Kane and asked him why we were going to some place that could potentially be dangerous. And he assured me that nothing would happen and said he chose the spot because it's somewhere him and his friends frequently camped. And this slightly reassured me. He does know the area better than me, after all. My parents are definitely over-suspicious of everyone. Strict is also a safe word, and for good reason, though, they're just protective. I told them that I was meeting up with a friend that I met over a video game, and that I've already known him for a month. I knew this would be less likely to freak them out than the truth. They were adamant that this was a horrible idea, but finally let me go off when Kane pulled into my driveway. He didn't come inside and waited outside of his car for me. After a brief introduction, my mom rushed out to meet him and asked a few questions about the area we were headed to, and then we were off. We pulled into the Starbucks by my house so he could get coffee, since he was tired from the drive up, and we sat in his car for about an hour and a half afterwards. And during that time, he asked me to rate the playlist that he put on and showed me how he writes down every single song he likes in a little notebook that he kept in his car. And I thought it was weird, but kind of sweet. Like what guys these days write down songs, you know? And after an hour or so passed, I told him that we should be going, and we can get to the campsite before dark. He kept saying just 5 more minutes, and after about 30 minutes of insisting we need to leave to make it on time, he finally lets us start onto the road. And while we drove the 4 hours to our destination, Kane mostly talked about himself. He told me long stories about his friends and a girl that he used to date that he doesn't like, and I thought this was strange. Who talks about another woman to a girl like this? And after telling stories for about 2 hours, I tried to deviate to a brighter topic and ask what kinds of things he's into, hobby-wise. I already knew the stuff that he told me online, but I was trying not to suffer from awkward silence or any more of his weird ramblings. He said that he thinks that eating healthy is important, and that people who eat junk food are stupid. He also says he only wears sustainable clothing that's made from cotton or wool. I don't have a problem with being sustainable or whatever, but he was saying it in a really obnoxious way. And then he turned to me and asked the first questions about me since we got in the car. What brought you to Omegle? And I told him that I was bored, and that I liked meeting new and interesting people, and that was about it. And he nodded slowly in thought and grinned, showing the most expression I've seen on his face so far. He said he likes to go on Omegle and tell people that he's a soldier in Russia, and that he was torturing people as he spoke to them. And I sat there in silence and kind of just stared at him, waiting for him to say that he was just kidding and that he was just some messed up type of humor, I guess. But he didn't. He just laughed and said, "What?" As we neared the campsite, I mentioned that I was getting kind of hungry. He said that we can stop at Whole Foods before going to camp for the night, and in my head I sighed about this, knowing that he was probably going to judge me for whatever I picked out there, but it wasn't a problem for me. I was hungry, so I agreed. And in Whole Foods, he made me pay for both of our meals because his card wouldn't work there. He didn't even try, it seemed like, and this kind of annoyed me, but I was just eager to get to the campsite, so I paid and we sat down outside to eat. After about an hour, we were finally ready to get to camp. We drive up the mountain and he pulls into a small parking area with about 3 spots. Cars were parked there, and older men were surrounding the cars smoking weed. Nothing that they were doing was wrong, at least morally to me, but it just made me uncomfortable that we were there so late at night. And before I could even mention it, Kane says that it's too cold for him to carry our supplies to the campsite, which was about a 10-minute walk, and set up camp. And I was taken aback by this. I said, "What do you mean? I'll help you. We didn't come up here for nothing, right?" And he insisted and told me to get out of the car, to feel how cold it was. He said it would take a while to pitch our tent and that it was too much for us. There was no way that I was getting out of the car and facing the men in the parking spot next to us, so I rolled down the window halfway and stuck my hand out. It was freeing. He was right about that. How freezing. Damn. Oh, man, it's taking a while to get into it, huh? Yo, Shorn, what's up, dude? What's up, Polly? How we doing, guys? Anything cool happening lately? What's up, Kelly? My clothes are only made from sweat and beeswax. That'd be sick. Beeswax armor. I know, I was on a bit of a tear there. I'm trying to, like, sometimes it's all, like, mental to get yourself to, like, continue through, because if I was just, like, narrating without, like, recording, sometimes I almost find myself on, like, better runs, you know, or than without stopping. But sometimes I like think about it too much. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going. But if I just really try to like casually not think about it, it seems like I can get further. Pisces, thank you. Good to see you. What's up, Master? You heard the song or the story on on Be Busted. Yeah, most likely it seems Be Busted does a lot of Reddit stuff. I mean, you're gonna hear a lot of like crossover stories, both on my channel and tons of other narration channels, especially if they're from lay Reddit. You're playing some mind jujitsu, are you? How do you play that? Oh, with myself, yeah. Playing with myself. It was freezing. He was right about that. That night it was in the 30s, and the wind chill felt worse being higher up. I was annoyed, but I agreed to sleep in his car for the night, and I was sad that our trip was basically wasted. He sat in silence for a while, seemingly uncomfortable that I was annoyed and unsure how to comfort me. I slinked back into the passenger seat and started to scroll on social media, just trying to pass the time. He grabbed my phone out of my hand and said, "Come here," and he patted on his lap. I was already annoyed at the situation and confused on what he thought he was doing. I said, "You're funny," and reached for my phone that he had tossed onto the floor of the car, and before I could get to it, he reached over and scooped me up out of the seat and tossed me onto the back seats. He then proceeds to do terrible things to me. I don't remember most of it. My eyes were squeezed shut and I was praying for it just to end. But after he was done, he pushed me back into the seats and got dressed. And he smiled at me and said, "How was it?" And I just stared back at him with tears in my eyes. And he climbed back into the front seat, propped his feet up on the wheel, and went to sleep. I didn't know what to do. I sat there motionless in the back seat for about 2 hours trying to process what had just happened to me. I considered calling my mom, calling 911, and I thought about it for what felt like forever. I had already been assaulted once in my life, and it broke my parents' hearts. I knew that learning of this would absolutely destroy them, and I was also afraid of what would happen if I told them. I didn't want my dad or brother to go to jail for life because they were angry and got revenge. I didn't want my dad or brother to go to jail for life because they were angry and got revenge against this guy. And I just sat there all night, watching the men outside stare into the car and smoke their joints. I don't remember falling asleep, but I eventually woke up to wind hitting the car, and I was in a fetal position sitting upright holding my legs with my arms. Kane noticed that I was awake and said it was time to go. I was so scared of him. It felt like my heart was leaping out of my throat. Adrenaline was pumping through my body, and I started scanning the back seat of our overnight bags for something I could use as a weapon in case he were to come at me again. And I ended up holding onto my full metal water bottle. It wasn't deadly by any means, but it could knock someone out, and holding it made me feel a little bit safer. I stayed in the back, and Kane started driving. I asked where we were going, and he said, "To get breakfast," almost as if that was obvious and it was silly of me to ask. After driving down the mountain back into the city, we pull into a parking garage and he tells me to get out, that we were here. I get out of the car and cling close to it, not wanting to let him get behind me. I was thinking about making a run for it, but didn't want to risk getting chased and overpowered by him. I followed him to a little Mexican spot on the corner, and he told me to order pancakes so he could have some. And this obviously made me more pissed than I already was, but I didn't say anything because I was afraid that there would be consequences if I showed negative emotions at this point. I ate a few bites of my food, and he happily ate the rest off my plate. He paid quickly with cash and took me back to the car, where he lay down in the back seat. He says he was going to take a nap because he didn't sleep well last night, and I didn't want to argue with him, so I just let him sleep. How could he sleep so soundly after what he had done to me, though? I asked. And he slept for 3 hours. And the whole time I was just watching YouTube videos, trying to calm myself down and keep it. Do you ever get stories that are just don't tell for any reason at all, like it's too much or written badly? Definitely a lot of stories that are sent in with like really bad like syntax and grammar and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, but it's pretty rare that I don't, a story is just like too much, I guess. And obviously we can edit things out. Joel, there's a story in r/high strangeness called The Disappearing Ghost Town that I absolutely love. Used to live in its area. It's about UP of Michigan. You should totally narrate it. Yeah, that'd be interesting. What's it about? Why didn't she leave? I don't know. It sounds like they drove like quite a long distance. So maybe she was like terrified of having to, or like trying to figure out how to get home, or maybe have him like pursue her or someone. I think at the beginning it said she was 19 at the time and he was 23. And they met on Omegle and lived like 3 to 4 hours apart. Yeah, you would think you would call someone, but I guess she also said that she was terrified that if she called the authorities or told anyone about this, that her family would try to, basically beat the guy up and then get in trouble or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It sounded like she was pretty socially sort of mitigated to the internet, so sometimes people like that don't really have a lot of experience with life or whatever, and sadly took a chance and something really bad happened. Greetings from England. Never caught a live before. Oh, yeah, good to see you. How's England treating you? Oh yeah, I saw like it was like a YouTube short that popped up, and it was Jacksepticeye, the gamer, and he was like, I don't know why Americans are so obsessed with their air conditioning. It's freaking freezing inside of every building you go into, and I don't understand how when you're sleeping your mouth isn't always dry, and and it's like, bro, obviously anybody who knows how the summers can be in certain areas, how humid it can be, especially if you're in like Florida or Texas or California or Arizona, all of those fucking places. And then I was like, I wonder why he would think that, you know what I mean? Because I know in the UK AC is not really a popular thing, but then I looked up where he was from, and he's from the Midlands, I think, or Midland in Ireland. And when I looked up like the longitude or whatever longitude of where that would be compared to in the United States, it would be up in like Newfoundland or some shit, like super North Canada. And then when it said what the climate was like there in the Midlands in Ireland, it would be basically never below freezing during the winter with wet winters, and then like moderate comfortable weather during the summer of like 60 to 70 degrees, which is like, can be like fall or springtime or whatever. So then it made sense. I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's never been fucking like dying hot where you're at, so of course you wouldn't really know the need for air conditioning. I just thought it was funny. I was getting all bent out of shape about air conditioning and then just having no idea. Obsessed with AC in South Africa? Well, you should be. I mean, South Africa is probably hot as balls all the time, I imagine. I don't really know, but Ireland gets rain 250 days a year, only downside. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of good, though. But I guess, yeah, it's always overcast in those northern parts of the UK. Or most of the UK, right? He slept for about 3 hours, and the whole time I was watching YouTube videos trying to calm myself down and keep a clear head. It was about 9 a.m., and around this time my mom was waking up and texted me saying that she wants to be home. Wants me home. It was around 9 a.m., and around this time my mom was waking up and texted me saying that she wants me to be home. I told her that Kane was taking a nap and that I would be home soon, and she didn't like the sound of that and insisted that I come home now. I was happy to have a reason to just get out of there, one that might be actually convincing to Kane. And I woke him up and he became angry with me, saying, "Hey, don't wake me up next time. Play on your phone. Just watch TikTok or something." I was shaking, but I managed to say that my mom wanted me home and that we needed to go. He said to let him sleep for 30 minutes more and told me to set a timer on my phone, so I did. 30 minutes felt like 30 hours, and once it went off, I woke him once again, and this time, I filmed myself waking him up because I was afraid what was going to happen. He was angry once again, and I told him that 30 minutes was up. I asked to leave, begged him to leave, and he said no. Over and over, he said we aren't leaving yet. I was shaking uncontrollably, but put on a brave face and pretended like I was being playful, and I said, "Okay, well, I guess I'll just get an Uber then." I turned around and started to open the car door when I felt his hand grab my shoulder, digging into it, and yank me back into place. I honestly think I blacked out from fear for a few seconds there, and he says, "Where do you think you're going?" And his hand was still on my shoulder, his fingers squeezing into my skin. My mind was racing and I was on the verge of tears, and this caught his eye, and I quickly played it off by saying my mom would call the police to come get me if I wasn't home soon. I had mentioned earlier that my dad works in law enforcement, so this was a little bit more believable of a lie, and at the mention of police, something changed in his face, and he started to look frantic. He let go of me and happily agreed to drive me home, and I felt a deep sense of relief, the deepest relief I've ever felt, and swallowed the lump in my throat as he climbed into the front seat and started our 5-hour drive back to my house. The drive back was much quieter than the drive up. I didn't say anything unless he initiated. I just gripped my phone in my hand and tried not to make eye contact with him. I wondered if he had any remorse for what he did in those moments. And when we reached the town where I live, it was about 11:30 at night. Kane pulled onto the main strip to get to my house, and I saw flashing lights behind me. And my first instinct was to be scared because my dad is a cop, so I've always made extra sure not to break any traffic laws. The police pulled us over, and 2 men stepped out of the cop car. I frantically rolled down my window so they could see my familiar face, the daughter of their boss, and one of them greeted me, and both looked concerned and disappointed that I was in the car with someone getting pulled over. The other cop told Kane to get out of the car while I explained that we were going. Best place to submit stories. You can submit them to my email, probably is the best to dig through. Let's read submissions at gmail.com. You got a tooth pulled yesterday. Oh shit. Did you have to take pain meds? It's so weird that there's like this entire separate culture of like different memes and shit on TikTok. I mean, I guess that's where a lot of newer stuff starts today, but I was just thinking about that like father and son duo with the Rizzler kid. We bring the boom type thing. Now, I know they've been going on like a long time, but I feel like only more recently have I seen them start to like pop up much more, the Costco guys or whatever. But it's just such an interesting thing, like just singing and like performing the We Bring the Boom song on like live streams with your son. I mean, I guess it's a fun bonding experience and stuff, but it's sometimes you wonder like what the end goal with all of this is. Are they going to go on tour? And they're going to do it till the kid's 30. No, I know they're cringe. I mean, that's kind of why they're popular, right? It's just like, it's this weird mix of like everybody just sort of cohesively making fun of one thing. Do you have pets? I have 4 dogs. I have a cat. He is not here right now, but I got one black cat named Pradeep. You don't know anyone I'm talking about? That's fine, dude. I mean, honestly, consider yourself fortunate that you don't know any of, like, a very minimal amount of people within, like, the social media sphere. Every single one of us is just a big pile of cringe. You had 4 teeth break because of your pregnancy with your daughter. I had a severe fear of dentists. I've tried to avoid it, but had an infection in the root. Because of your pregnancy? Were you, like, gritting your teeth or something while giving birth, or what happened? Your baby reached up and yanked the teeth out. Ever been to Chicago? I have been to Chicago, yep. To the Bean. The big old Bizine. What's up, Raven? The other cop told Kane to get out of the car while I explained what we were doing out so late. I spared the illegal and horrific details. I was tired and scared, and I needed to be safe in my own home. I also didn't want them waking up my sleeping dad with such bad news. I overheard the second officer ask Kane about his info when he said, "What's your name, son?" Kane mumbled, and he said to speak up. The name he gave was not Kane, and he told the officer that he was 22, not 23. And my heart sank into my feet, and I sat motionless while they explained to Kane that he missed a stop sign, and that they're just letting him off with a warning. They told me to get home, and that They told me to get home, and I nodded my head. When we pulled off, I let my emotions take over and started screaming at this stranger that I was sitting next to. "Why did you lie to me? What is wrong with you?" He looked distressed from the volume of my yelling, and he told me to calm down, that he was sorry he lied. He said that he only lied about his identity for his own safety. And that honestly baffled me, considering that he had just assaulted me. And I screamed at him all the way to my house as we pulled in, and I threw the car doors open and started throwing my stuff out into the lawn, desperate to just get far away from him. He tried to talk to me, to offer more pitiful excuses for his disgusting actions, but I screamed at him to get away from me and that I never wanted to see him again. I gathered my stuff off the lawn and hauled it into my room while my parents slept soundly, unaware of the terrible secret that I now had. I woke my mom up and told her that I was home, as she requested. And once I got to my room, I just broke down. And what happened to me was starting to sink in, as I was sobbing silently into my blanket and my phone lit up from... I don't think it has the correct properties to be gin. What are you talking about? Give some cat treats Pradeep when he comes back. I would like to get some, like, healthy cat treats. You guys will have to let me know what some good ones are. Because I heard greenies were, like, not so good for cats. I got some, like, random other stuff. But it is really cute, like, late at night. It's always like, you know, feed him, get him his dry food, get him his wet food, like, earlier in the day. And then later at night, he'll like literally sit very like prim and proper in front of his like food dish and just be like sitting there, you know, propped up, like staring at it. And that's like his body language indication to me that like, "I'd like some food, please. I think I'd like a little snack." Do you grow catnip for him? He does go wild for catnip, but I don't do it too often because it seems like it makes him a different cat, a different kitty. I feel like it's going to be one of those things we find out later that like catnip gives cats like heart attacks or some shit. What color are Pradeep's eyes? Yeah, it's like greenish yellow. I guess it depends on, it kind of changes. What happened to me was starting to sink in. As I was sobbing silently into my blanket, my phone lit up from with a... God damn it. What happened to me was starting to sink in. As I was sobbing silently into my blanket, my phone lit up from a text saying Kane, and it read, "I'm sorry, Will, but god damn it, I was doing good earlier. I'm sorry about what happened. I really am. If it makes you feel any better, I just got pulled over, so that's my karma, I guess. Let me know if you want to talk." And I felt a wave of nausea hit me like a train. I screenshotted the message, blocked his number, and deleted his contact. And I haven't heard from him since, and I haven't hung out with anyone since besides my boyfriend, who, thank God, I met later and is normal. I still think about what happened almost every day, and I still feel sick when someone I don't know gets close to me, even if it's just a stranger passing by in the grocery store. I know that what happened was the product of my own irrational teenage actions. I know I shouldn't have met up with someone I didn't know, but I had faith that he would be a normal person, somewhat at least. I just wish that I would have listened to my instincts and my parents' warnings. I don't know what would have happened if I didn't make up that police story, and I don't even know. Wait. I don't know what would happen if I didn't make up that police story. See, that's what's confusing to me. It's like, she said that she made up the story about the police, but then whenever the cops came up, she referenced that that her dad was their boss or something, but I thought she said that like in earnest. You know what I mean? So is that like she was having trouble keeping the story straight, or is it like, or was she continuing the made up story to him as they approached or something? Yeah, I don't know either. Fucking one, yeah. Does reading scary stories all the time affect your mental health? I've always wondered. It does not, no. I am secretly a serial killer, so when I hear this stuff, it's just a normal day for a freak like me. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I don't know. I think because it's just in like written text, I don't really like sort of, maybe I'm not creative enough to like really experience it like viscerally in my mind. But I mean, I can think of the things that are happening, but maybe because I haven't had a lot of bad stuff happen to me, it doesn't like translate to as scary, or I don't know, to like pull back to that scary experience of my own personal. Like Robin Williams, yeah, Robin Williams was like a insanely good comedian. I felt really bad for him because I remember somebody was saying like he would be all bubbly and excited and then go back. Somebody would see him inside of his like changing green room or whatever, and then he would come in and just like put his hands into his head into his hands and just like, I don't know if he would sob or whatever, but he would just be in like the absolute worst mood ever. And whenever they asked him why he was like that, he said that because he was addicted to cocaine for so long and it fucked up all of his like dopamine receptors in his brain or whatever. I don't know. I mean, that's what I've heard. I don't think that's exactly what he said, but he said because he was addicted to cocaine for so long, now that he's off of it, he feels nothing. Like he's like incapable of feeling like any type of emotion or any joy, and it's just like in a constant state of like low, which would suck. Wieners. Davey dude, what's up, dude? Good to see you. It is because you have a different mindset and you know how you would react in this situation. A decent chunk of us here would just mag dump any problem. Well, don't do that. But I see what you mean. Like if you had a previous like traumatic experience and then you hear these other ones, you can kind of like, I guess, empathize with the people a little bit stronger and probably feel a degree of visceral, I guess, instinct based on your association with your experience and how you felt then or whatever. You didn't know he did coke? Yeah, I don't know. It was just a story I heard. It was a sad one, but I think that's why he was so bubbly on stage all the time, was that he was pretty high on cocaine, and it was just able to make him go like boom, 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 boom. Being that it's like a crazy amphetamine and that kind of thing. I do recall that, the comedian Nick Mullins from Cumtown, if you notice, like some of his like segments from whenever he was in the early days of Come Town, and like all of his riffs, as they say, like the silly jokes he would just kind of come up with on the spot, they were always so quick and quick-witted, which I know he is as a naturally as a person, is a very comedic individual with quick wit, but it almost seemed like unnaturally so, like so incredibly funny. What Town? You should look it up if you like potty humor and like silly jokes, immature jokes. Come Town's a very funny podcast to listen to. This guy with the 5, thank you, this guy, appreciate you. Stavros, yeah, Stavros is very, very funny. I saw that he was in that like tire show with what's his name? How the fuck do I forget his name? Shane Gillis, sorry. Hey TX, thank you, good to see you. What's happening? Gonna have to pop off now, but since I gotta work tomorrow, have a great night, everyone. Hey, thanks. What is it, B1? Bin? Can you spell the town? Yeah, which town are you from? Come Town? Well, there is a place in Pennsylvania called Yoakum Town, but it looks really funny because it says Yo Come Town, and I sometimes remember passing by that exit. Yo, come down. Depression like that usually means the endorphins and dopamine levels are depleted. Maybe he used to keep the withdrawals away. Yeah, I mean, at that point, you're just like, your brain might just be fucked. I don't know exactly how you can kind of reset everything, honestly, if there's any sort of chemical to do so, or if you're just kind of screwed. Hey, John, thank you. You're not too far from Yo Come Town. Hell yeah, dude. Spread Eagle, that's funny. Imagine if there was a big earthquake and Yo Come Town met Spread Eagle and created the Pointy Mountains. I don't know what would happen if I didn't make up that police story, and I don't even want to think about it, and I will never meet up with someone I don't know again. And while trying to cope with what had happened to me, I googled Nimham Mountain again, and I found a link that said Cane Mountain North Trail Loop, New York. And if you made it thus far, or you take anything away from this story, please let it be this. Trust your instincts, and trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Alright, we'll just stop there. There was more to it, but just kind of post-text. Would you rather own an eagle or an owl? Probably an owl. I feel like they'd be much more manageable than an eagle. Yeah, how many did you guys vote for? Hawk Tua? Talk Tua? Matt Friends does a good job of Donald impression. Shane does an okay job. Oh, really? I thought Shane's was really good. So you're telling me you know someone who does like a better Donald Trump impression? When I was 16 years old, I'm a female, I was walking to a store near my house. I was a huge pothead and would walk to the neighborhood nearby to get my stuff and then take a shortcut through said neighborhood to the store to get blunt wraps. I was walking through an abandoned apartment building and a very nice dressed man was walking through and asked how I was doing. I ignored him and just kept walking. In the area that I was walking, there's not really white men in suits, so I was kind of thrown off. I get to the store and I'm walking back, and a white truck is parked in the corner of the apartment building, so I opted to go the long way on the busy street. The truck drove up to me, and the same man jumped out and picked me up so fast that I didn't even have time to think. I was only 100%. God damn it. Hey, Josh to Ozzy, thank you for the gifter too. Davey Dude, Davey, you now have access to bonus content. Thank you, Josh. From down under. I was only 100 pounds at the time and wasn't nearly as strong as him. I tried to scream and hit him with my elbow, but there was no luck. A lady that's heavily on drugs that always walks around my city came running at us and yelling to put me down. He actually did put me down and then sped off. Almost 10 years later, I always stopped to give the woman food and actually just paid her to get rehab, and I guess now she's doing great, reunited with her grandchildren and working. Not as creepy as these other stories on here, but definitely never walk alone again. What the fuck? Not as creepy as some of these other stories here, but definitely never walking alone again after that. It's crazy the difference between like a story that like really goes on and one that almost is like too quick and doesn't like give hardly any detail. You love the sound between stories. It's a good sound. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like a tugboat foghorn. Politics. I don't even know what's to be gained from talking about politics anymore. Like, I get it. You want to talk about it because it's a thing that's important. But it's strange. Like, I feel like most people are so desensitized towards it. Desensitized towards the negativity, desensitized towards like even having thoughts about it. It's like everyone is just kind of, not everyone, but a lot of people, a lot of more like less emotionally driven people are kind of just like, whatever. Like it was something about like yesterday's election that just seemed like it came and went. I don't know. It didn't even feel like an election day or anything like that, and it just happened and it's over. And then, I mean, obviously there's people that are upset, there's people that are happy, there's things to be said, but I don't know. I feel like just no emotion whatsoever. You don't get offended by political stuff. Yeah, it's fine, dude. I mean, honestly, it takes a stronger person to kind of like look internally and feel like secure in themselves to just like disallow words to somehow penetrate their psyche. Because the people that are like less capable of like doing that clearly have like something that's just not as, I guess, sound of mind. Oh, you always have the election day on your birthday. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, I've heard someone say it's the economy, stupid, and really that's what most normal people kind of just wish. They're like, don't give a fuck about anything. They're like, just please don't collapse the fucking economy. Keep things affordable via, I don't know, means that aren't insane. John with the 2. Thank you, John. Hashtag got milk. Hell yeah, dude. Did you know that chocolate milk does not come from brown cows? You're telling me that they use poop? They use poop from white cows? Yo, no frowns. What's up? How you doing? Anyone play Nier Automata? I did play that a little bit. I like that it was a very like open worldy kind of game, but I didn't make it very far. I kind of like lost interest pretty quick. Historically, the economy does worse when bugs in power. Good luck on that one. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I do remember at one point, years ago, it was like gas was like $1.99. That was pretty sick. I know COVID fucked things pretty hard, especially when they like passed the bill that like inflated the economy by like 30%. That was, you knew that wasn't going to be good in the long run. I don't know, man. I think it's those kinds of things that worry me the most, is just like these sort of existential things that kind of come out of nowhere you know? They almost like remind you, they're like very reminiscent of like sort of a 9/11 like core lore event, you know? Where everyone just has to like in unison like stomp together. Do you drink coffee? If so, what's your favorite type? I drink all of it. I love energy drinks, coffee, black coffee, coffee with fucking milk, coffee with creamer, coffee with fucking salt. No, I'm just kidding, but whatever the fuck, you know? Cappuccinos, fuck yeah. Like, this is just late stage capitalism. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you have to be careful too, like saying generalized statements like that. I mean, I do it too, but you kind of have to like define to people, like if you're going to say things, and it's fine, it's a chat, you know what I mean? But if you're going to have conversations where you want to be taken seriously about your economic perspectives, you kind of have to like define like, what is late stage capitalism? What do I define that as? Like, and then if you're going to say like the economy was poopy under blah, 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 you have to like give some like markers or indicators to like just establish definitions with the people that you're discussing it with. Otherwise, like, it's just kind of like talking into a void. And that's fine, you know, either way. All of our words are meaningless at the end of the day. You know, you might as well not lose friends. You might as, I don't know. It's whatever. It is whatever the fuck ever. People are going to take something and take it a million different directions anyway. I could give the economy facts if not in the stream chat, but you know, what can you do? I mean, you could do it right now. I mean, it depends on who you're talking to, but I might look at it and be like, something to consider, you know, but I might not. I might miss it, but who knows? Maybe someone in the chat would be like, I see your point, you know, but it's whatever. Little backstory before we begin. I'm into LARPing. And for those who don't know what that is, we basically spend the weekend in the woods dressed as medieval fantasy characters and interact with each other. I goes these. I go to these events with my friend and my partner, and we meet some friends when we were there. God damn it. I go to these events with my friend and my partner, and we meet some more friends when we're there. There are all these types of people at these events, but 99.9% are absolute angels, and I have yet to meet the 0.1%, but wish I hadn't. Oh, I had. Dude, how the fuck am I not? Oh my god. There are all these types of people that are at these events, but 99.9% are absolute angels, and I had yet to meet the 0.1%. But I wish I had. Oh my god. I don't know why. It's like, I get, like, honestly, sometimes I kind of hate stories like previously that are just fucking like 9 hours long, because then it's like it sucks out all the reading juice out of my brain. I'm like fresh out of reading sugar. I need like little bees to like buzz over to my mouth and drop off some fucking nectar. The vital essence, please. There are all types of people at these events, but 99.9% are absolute angels. I had yet to meet the 0.1%, but wish I hadn't. And before the event started, a guy, Greg, swung by my tent while I was setting it up. My partner and friend were setting up the secondary tent up a path and couldn't see me. There were 5 other people to my right, and I had never met the guy before, but as soon as he said hi, I had a bad feeling. He was maybe around 5'10", obese, a neck beard, basically what would fit the description of what you might call an incel. And he approaches me and asks me if I'm here alone. I say no, I'm here with people, but don't mention my partner or friend directly. He asks me if I'm a gamer, to which I say yes, and from then on, he starts rambling about He approaches me and asks, Mike Tyson, cures my depression. He approaches me and asks me if I'm here alone, and I say no. I'm here with people, but don't mention my partner or friend directly. He asks me if I'm a gamer, to which I say yes, and from then on, he starts rambling on about Ark Survival, which is a game that I personally have like 3,000 plus hours on. He tells me blatantly wrong info, misnames the dinosaurs, tells me stuff that's impossible to do in the game, even with mods, etc. And every time I correct him, I can see that he looks to be getting even more annoyed. I end the conversation, saying I have to go back to setting up the tent, and he leaves. Now fast forward to around 10 to 11 p.m., the event has started, which means that any mention of the real world, such as cars, TV, pop culture, etc., is forbidden by a rule called decorum. We're playing a campfire game with my friends and my partner, and... God fucking damn it. We're playing a campfire game with my friends. Okay, Jesus. Yo, marketing, what is good? Who the frick is good? What the frick is good? We're playing a campfire game with my friends and my partner, and the guy comes by to sit with us. He sits next to me, I move over. He scoots closer, I move over, and he scoots. Eventually, I get up and sit next to my friend. As we play the game, he keeps referring to the real world and to video games, so we tell him either to leave or to make an effort and speak properly, and he leaves. The next day, I go up a trail for fake hunting, gathering resources, and as I come back down towards the village, in the middle of the woods with no camps, I can hunt. Dude, I don't know why the fuck I can't find the pacing with, like, the cadence with how I'm reading the story. I just keep, like, reading like a fucking robot. Get some help from my twin. Who's my twin? Get clapped meant shot back in early 20s. Now it's a whole new meaning. Yeah, there's variations to it. You could get both, I guess. Yeah, my programming is starting to break down. I'm reading like a sex robot. The next day, I got up a trail. The next day, I go up a trail for fake hunting, gathering resources. As I come back down towards the village, in the middle of the woods with no camps I can hide in, he's there waiting for me on the trail. He then asked me if I would like to go get a coffee or something sometimes. Alright, fuck this. I'm putting this... It's so weird. The grammar started out so strong and then it just became fucking stupid out of nowhere. I'm gonna put this in chat BBC and fix this goddamn grammar. If I have a hot twin sister, but her voice sounds just like mine. Alright, here we go. Chat, what? As I head back down towards the village, in the middle of the woods with no camps to hide in, he's there, waiting for me on the trail. He asks if I'd like to go get coffee or something sometime, to which I respond, no thanks. As we continue down the trail, I tell him I need to collect plants for my potions, and if he'll excuse me, I'll be going back to my village to drop off my bow and grab my basket. I start walking quickly, but he follows me, grabs my arm, and says, I could come with you. You, me, alone in the woods looking for plants? It sounds like the perfect scenario. I freaked out and rushed down the trail toward the village. When my neighbors see me, they look very concerned. They ask if I need help, and I tell them, in all honesty, which is our code for saying, take me seriously. This isn't part of the game. This guy is being creepy and following me. And they grab their weapons, foam weapons, and tell him to back off before they carve him a new one. I stay with them for a few minutes before calming down and hanging out with my friends. Night falls and we're having fun with various fights and encounters happening. At around midnight, I decided to go to the bathroom. By this point, I hadn't seen him since maybe 7 p.m. As I come back in the dark, he jumps out from a bush and pins me against a tree. He tells me he's disappointed, that I've been leading him on, and that he doesn't understand why I would hold another guy's hand and hug 3 others but not him. I tell him that I hold my fiance's hand and hug my friends, but he's neither, and I also tell him to stop his nonsense, in all honesty. Wait, what? What is it? What? Do you like Apollo the Gray Parrot? I don't think I've heard of him. I like McNutty the Squirrel. Who's the squirrel that just got shut? Peanut? Poor little guy. Dying for everyone's sins like that. Just like Harambe. Isn't that such a fucking weird thing? Like, what does anyone know the circumstances for the, justice for Peanut, dude. Like, what was the circumstances that they had, like, an animal sanctuary, clearly took very good care of those animals, and then just, like, some state entity shows up and is like, all right, there was rules written on, like, a little piece of paper here, so it means we have to kill your animals. I know they're not doing any harm and you're actually doing a great job taking care of them, but we saw something on the internet and now we need to, like, snap their necks and shoot them in the head. But why did they target them specifically? It's gone south, I don't know, just soothe me with those amazing syllables. No, I need to get to the bottom of the Peanut debacle. Someone reported it. See, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, scum of the earth. Scum of the earth are the ones that know that nothing is really necessarily wrong with the situation, but it just doesn't happen to fit within, like, terms of services. So they go out of their way to just, like, ruin somebody's life. Fuck. Like, you have to be fucked in the head. A Karen in Texas. It was in Texas? Is that where it happened? To animal control. That's crazy. That's honestly crazy. That was New York. Rats equal fine. Guy with squirrel. Kill him. Open fire. The red squirrel laws. NYC is a hellscape. It sounds like it, man. I don't know. All those fucking dumb cities, man, just suck. PP. I also tell him to stop his nonsense, in all honesty. And he responds, but what if, in all honesty, I just want a little kiss, huh? Just a little kiss, and then you can go. I yell no and try to push him away. My friends who are on the other side of a nearby bridge hear me scream, and they grab their weapons, call my neighbors, and about 10 people come rushing over to help. The guy lets me go and tries to explain to my rescuers, saying he was just interrogating me for information about the demons, our foes in this LARPing situation. And my friends who have seen him act like a jerk before tell him not to move, that they're going to get the LARP owner to deal with him. And he tries to talk them out of it, but my neighbors tell him to sit down or he'll be visiting Death's altar before he has a chance to leave. My fiancé, very worried, takes me aside to make sure I'm okay. The owner arrives and I explain everything that has happened, and the owner takes Greg out of the game for a talk. From what I heard, he was kindly told not to return to future events. He was beheaded. He was taken to the gallows and had his neck chopped off. publicly. It is kind of insane. Don't go after criminals, go after a squirrel. I don't know, man. That's what happens when you beg for more government. They kill your fucking squirrel. But there will be karma. Payback will be dire. Retribution for Peanut. It's like a whole army of squirrels. Choose them into like little bits. No! Back in 2013, I lived in Providence, Rhode Island, and had moved there for a new job. It was just me living there in a quaint and spacious townhouse with my then 4-year-old daughter. We were relatively new to the area and didn't know many people, but did become familiar with a kind older gentleman who lived next door. His name, for the purpose of this story, was Ben. He lived in a connected townhouse with our 2 units abutting each other, and our street was lined with beautiful floral trees and quite nice, but Providence is weird in that the conditions of the house and little neighborhoods can vary drastically street by street. We were near a few rough neighborhoods, but I felt relatively safe in my new home. I remember a few nights prior to this specific night, I saw a Facebook post with a safety tip to put your car keys next to your bed so if anything ever happens, you can press the alarm and scare an intruder off. I've never been overly concerned about my safety and rarely took advantage of any tips I saw on Facebook, so I'm not sure. Fucking hell. I've never been overly concerned about my safety and rarely took advantage of any tips I saw on Facebook, so I'm not sure how or why I suddenly decided to heed this advice. I was reading a book in bed with my light on in my second-floor bedroom, hours after putting my daughter to sleep, when I heard a loud sound outside. I peered out the window to take a look and saw nothing. I had taken some melatonin that evening, turning off the light, and went to sleep. It was maybe a half hour later or so when I was suddenly woken up by what felt like almost an earthquake. The room shook and I heard a loud thud. Half awake, I gasped and saw... Gasped. I don't know why those stupid words are so hard to say. I gaped. See ya, Raven. Take care. Half awake, I gasped and sat up wondering if it was my imagination or if I actually felt something, and immediately ran to my daughter's room thinking that she had fallen off her bed or injured herself or something. As I swung her door wide open, there she was, sleeping soundly and sweetly, and I was confused. I heard another loud bang and had this sort of eerie feeling that something was wrong, but I couldn't figure out what. I grabbed my car key fob and took it downstairs as I nervously inspected the first floor. I swore to myself that if I heard one more sound, I would press that alarm just in case, but I didn't. It was silent after that. I returned to bed and took a while to fall asleep again, but soon shut my eyes. The next day went on like any other day when I noticed a friend of mine had repeatedly called me in the afternoon, and I picked up my daughter from preschool and called the friend back. "Did you hear?" he said. "No, what?" "News outlets were mobbing your street about an hour ago, and the news trucks were even in your driveway." And I sat silent, confused. 3 men broke into your neighbor's place last night, tied him up at gunpoint, and stole thousands of dollars worth of items, and took off with his car. I immediately fell to my knees and began sobbing. I had heard it all happen, and I almost pressed the button. I almost, but I didn't. I sobbed and felt completely unsafe. I asked a friend to come over for the night to stay with us, and it wasn't until the next day that I got the chance to speak to Ben. Ben explained the whole story and told me the cops wanted to talk to me so I could share what I had heard and experienced. He said the men smashed the window in his basement and entered through there, the sounds that I heard before going to bed. Apparently the timeline suggested that they saw my light and me peering out of the window and waited 30 minutes or so until my light was out to enter the premises. They didn't realize that he was home, and since he had gone to bed early that night, it was suggested that they cased his place beforehand. He had been asleep when one of them was rummaging through his stuff upstairs in his bedroom, which was directly on the other side of my closets. What? He had been asleep when one of them was rummaging through his stuff upstairs in his bedroom, which was directly on the other side of my closets through a shared wall. Oh wait, it was a direct neighbor? He had been a motherfucker. He had been asleep when one of them was rummaging through his stuff upstairs in his bedroom, which was directly on the other side of my closets through a... Why does that not sound fucking right? Just put it through chat. This is annoying as fuck. Engorged is a weird word. Yeah, I feel like the only time I hear engorged is like with like ticks. The tick was engorged with blood. Imagine only needing to rely on income from ads on your Squirrel account. Yeah. And then the cops show up and fucking just shoot it in the head, and now you're screwed. He hadn't been asleep when... Motherfucker. He had been asleep when one of them started rummaging through his things upstairs in his bedroom, which was directly on the other side of my closets, separated by a shared wall. The sounds and vibrations I heard were apparently the intruder knocking him down after realizing Ben was there. The intruder cupped Ben's mouth, threatening to kill him if he made another sound. And this explains why I heard nothing further while I was investigating afterwards. After they tied him up, he remained restrained for over 12 hours and eventually broke free before calling the police. I broke down and apologized to Ben profusely, explaining what I had heard. He simply replied that while he was tied up, all he could think about was how glad he was that it... Yo, One Piece, what's good? He simply replied while he was tied up, all he could think about was how he was glad that he was... What the fuck? He simply replied that while he was tied up, all he could think about was how glad he was that it... Okay. Dude, I don't know why. My brain just like doesn't tie the fucking words together. I'm so cool, thank you. I'm the coolest guy ever complaining about reading. I guess it's good they didn't kill him. Some robbers just kill you. He simply replied that while he was tied up, all he could think about was how glad he was that it didn't happen to me and my little girl. I honestly don't know how I would have coped if my daughter and I had experienced that level of trauma firsthand. Ben seemed to be okay, considering everything, but it took me a long time to feel safe again and to let go of the guilt. They never caught the men, and I ended up ordering a taser, which is illegal, and some mace. And for the first time, I even considered getting a gun, but I decided against it. Thankfully, I haven't experienced anything close to that since, and sincerely hope I never do. I'm glad Ben was ultimately okay, but next time, I'll listen to my instincts. That needs to be a new true crime podcast or something like this podcast, just called Listen to Your Instincts. Maybe that's too many words. Listen to Your Instincts. Is that a normal podcast name? It sounds pretty normal. Unburdened by what has been. That's what I say whenever my diaper is changed. Unburdened by what has been. The poop in my undies. It does annoy me whenever my brain just doesn't seem to be working as well as it was like earlier in the stream, because it's like, why? For what purpose does it get like worse? Is it literally like a fucking muscle that's just like running out of glycogen and, resources? I would like to know what like sort of fuels the brain a little bit more. Diaper? Question mark. My diaper. Filled to the brim. Guys, just because you're a grown-ass person doesn't mean you can't just... I mean, what the fuck? Why do babies get to have all the good shit? Diapers, mushy food, bottle, nap time. Fuck that. We're taking back what was originally ours. And it starts with soiling yourself every day in disposable underpants. You deplete oxygen as you get older. I'm sucking it all up. Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm taking all that oxygen. Maybe there's something, maybe sugar. If I ate something, do you think that would be a terrible thing to do? I'm trying to think what's even up there in my dungeon kitchen. All right, we're going to do one story and then I'll take a quick break and grab some sugar. This happened fairly recently. I was trying to get a train to the city for a night of drinking with some friends. Unfortunately, the trains weren't running to the city center that day for some reason, so they had a replacement bus service instead. And so off I toddled looking for where they'd hidden the replacement buses in the train station. After a while, it seemed like I was on the right track, and just as I'd found a very promising corridor, I heard running footsteps coming from behind me. I glanced round to find an Arabic man sprinting to a stop beside me. I know he was Arabic because he tried to offer to teach me Arabic while I trapped with... I know he was Arabic because he tried to... I know he was Arabic because he tried to offer to teach me Arabic while I was trapped with him later on. He asked me if I knew where the replacement bus service was. I replied that I was probably just as lost as he was and that I was just trying to find it myself. I thought that that would be the end of our interaction, but he continued walking beside me. Fair enough, I thought. We're both looking for the same thing, so maybe he thinks we stand a better chance of finding it together. I wish I'd turned around and darted into the bathroom or something. And it turned out that the corridor did lead to the replacement bus, and the driver was standing outside the doors. He assured us that we had plenty of time and were the first ones here. He opened the doors to let us in, and the bus was completely empty. I decided to take a random seat in the middle and huddled up next to the window, ready to put my headphones on. But where does this guy choose to sit in the completely empty bus? Right next to me, trapping me in the row of seats. I thought it was a little weird at the time, but figured no harm would come of it. He asked me why I'm headed to the city center. I tell him I'm meeting friends there for a girls' night out, and then very pointedly put my headphones on and start finding a good song to listen to. He insists that he could join us, and I tell him it's girls only and I don't really know him. He answered that we could get to know each other and he'll buy me a drink. I tell him no thanks, I just want to see my friends today. The bus has gotten moving at this point, and there are a few others on board, and from there he proceeds to badger me with questions, all of which I ignore or give one-word answers to. After a bunch of them, my replies become variations of, I just want to listen to my music now, and I'm not interested in talking, sorry. He starts complimenting my body, telling me he thinks I'm beautiful and repeating over and over, I really like you. My only responses now are, leave me alone. Every so often, I'm visibly shrinking away from him as he's leaning closer. The bus driver doesn't seem to know what's going on for the next... Coriag? Thank you for the gifter to Stephanie. Welcome, Stephanie. I really like you. That's what you should say to people that you like, right, guys? You should corner them into a little area within, like, in the side of a wall. Because the good thing is if there's a wall between them and, like, escape, that means they can't get away, right? So that increases your chances of them falling in love with you the longer that you trap them. And that also gives them a chance to sniff your breath more often as well. So it doesn't really matter if your breath smells like shit. As long as they get to continue to smell it, they may actually adapt to it and associate the increased sense of anxiety they feel with your stinky breath. But also, people don't realize they actually like to be afraid all the time. And that fear is very, very similar to joy. And eventually it's going to be like sort of a Stockholm syndrome, but in like little bits of sort of interaction. You know what I mean? Like what I'm trying to say is you can speed run Stockholm syndrome with someone. Quick and easy, just like that. And then say, I really like you. I really, really like you. And you kind of like let out your breath right in there. Like make sure you're eating garlic and fucking poop beforehand. Okay. My only responses now are, leave me alone. Every so often, and I'm visibly shrinking away from him as he's leaning closer. The bus driver doesn't seem to know where he's going for his next stop, and the city center is ages away. I'm trapped in the seat and starting to really panic. He starts stepping up. Oh my god. See, this guy's the master. He's got it figured out. He starts stepping up to I love yous and leans right up to me, making kissy sounds with his lips. And that was the moment my hero intervened. It was a man around my age sitting a few seats back, and I'll quote what I can remember of the conversation. Hey, excuse me, mate. She asked you multiple times to leave her alone. And through very gritted teeth, he tells that guy to F off. Oh. And through very gritted teeth, that creep tells him to F off. Oh, you need to move away from her. You're clearly bothering her. Do you mind your business? We're fine. And then to me, do you want him to move? And me, practically pinned against the window, getting scared. Yeah. And the creep gets up and storms up to the man. Do you want to fight? Do you want to go right now? Nah, I'd rather you control yourself and leave her alone. The creep is visibly ready to start throwing punches when the driver calls back if there's a problem and if he needs to kick anyone off the bus. The creep quietly says no and moves a few seats behind my hero, much to my relief, and I mouth several thank yous to my hero, who just smiles like it was no big deal. The creep tries following me off the bus, but My friends meet. Josh, did you see my last gift? I did not. I'm so sorry about that. There it is. I see it there. Josh, thank you for the gifter too. Oh, Coriag. I hope I'm saying that right. But thank you for the gifter, Josh. Very much appreciated. And thank you so much for the 15 buccarinos. Thank you, thank you. Sorry, yeah, sometimes I miss that. Yeah, don't feel bad. Shooting me a reminder like that. I appreciate it. What's up, Snow? How we doing? I think I still got your music saved here. I didn't get to listen to any more tracks, but maybe we can listen to some tonight. Maybe we could throw a track on while I go get a snack. Snacks! The creep tries following me off the bus, but my friends meet with me, and so he walks off. But I'm just so glad that my hero intervened when he did. Joni, your friend is a music producer, Theo Haley, on Spotify's song Blank Picture. Yeah, you were saying about that too, right? Yeah, you mentioned that earlier, I believe, right? We can definitely do that quick. Music producer, Theo Haley. I don't have Spotify up on the computer here. Blank Picture. This is it? It's pretty sick. It sounds kind of like Grimes.
But I be stressing over complicating all these verses, and it be different when the pressure holding on my virtues. I was standing in the dark, she said nothing gon' hurt you. When we be settled for delusion, linger like the clouds. Feel my tether heart, my fragile wings, and who you keep around. Truth, you wanna double down it, but in conclusion, crumple up the paper, throw it out. Kid, look at your surroundings. Eagle tripping every other day, another round. Lost to cover up with sound files that they call it magic. They respect all cats, spell it out fragments. My brother told me better watch it since something's tragic. When you fight into himself, we spark up all the matches. Try to burn a crooked smile, turn to stained glasses. Closed-minded, but the highs open up an image. It gets bigger, recognizing we is all fixtures. I like to think that we is born just a blank picture. And when I look into the stars, feel the world spinning. But I be stressing over complicating all these verses, and it be different when the pressure holding on my virtues. I was standing in the dark, she said nothing gon' hurt you. When we be settled for delusion, linger like the clouds. Feel my tether heart, my fragile wings, and who you keep around. True. With the conclusion, crumble up the paper, throw it out.
Is it good? All I had was beef jerky. Oh yeah, I like this. Is it pork jerky? I think it's turkey, honestly. You guys want some? Just like dangle the meat over your guys' 500 gnashing teeth. Rah, rah, rah. Feed us. Dude, if you guys ever get a chance to get a dishwasher, they're fucking awesome. Here's this song. Baby bird style. Yeah, squirrel jerky. I'm eating peanut right now. I am chewing with my mouth closed. Not peanut. All right. We're going to keep listening to music. Who's the next person? We were continuing that one album. My mouth is closed, I can't talk. Or I will be reprimanded. I will be hurt and beat up. Okay. It was by Alicia Shepherd. Here it is. Boom, 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 boom. Track 2. Oh yeah, it's fucking jazz, baby. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Wait, this is Snow, right? Snow, this is your music, isn't it? That's so good, dude. So you're in like a studio with people who are like playing fucking like brass instruments and shit? And drums? Jazzing. Jazz hands, everybody. I fucking love jazz. Snow, do you ever watch the show Louis with Louis C.K.? That's one of my favorite things about New York City, is that all the shows that kind of like have like slice of life type stuff from it always use like jazz. You wrote all the music yourself. Most of it is just me and all by myself. Wow. Well, I have help with the drums because my legs don't work no more. Oh, wow. So does someone do the drum beats or whatever, or do you just make it on a computer? My big band era. I just love that. I just love like where your mind goes with jazz, you know what I mean? You always have like a scenario of where you can end up in it, or like where you are in just like a sort of storyline. LPD to make drums, but I bought super great samples from East West Productions. Nice, dude. That's truly amazing. And you write scripts as well, right? You have like you said you were writing like a screenplay for somebody? Do you know how to make video games? We should make a video game. Like Vampire Survivors. No, I've got ideas though. And if Vampire Survivors was only $1,500, we can make something happen. Yeah, sorry, I could share the link. My apologies. Ding dong. This is so sick. There's a link for Alicia Shepherd. I finished a screenplay for him. I'm writing short stories and novels. Actually, I code all the time. My personal website has lots of little Java games. Really? Where do I go to find that? How would you like to make $12 million? USA.com. So it's those letters.com. I just got a virus. Damn it. Just kidding. The sound of cosmic horror. Welcome to OSA Official. Whoa. This is... Huh. Oh, it's a YouTube channel? Wait, what is this? Oh, you make soundscapes as well? We're gonna check out the soundscapes real quick. It's a Cthulhu thing? I've been working with someone to make a Vampire Survivor like base game on Boomganza, but they bailed. I put a lot of art into that. Well, where the hell? Yeah, where do I see that? Can you email me? It sounds like we got a potential for greatness here. What the hell? Huh. Do transition narrations or character storylines? Wait, what do you mean? Transition narration? Oh, like reading with this in the background? Oh my god. I woke something up. What the hell was that? I pissed off Cthulhu, dude. Just the fact that you guys both type whoa. Oh my god. Cthulhu is too scary for me, bro. We gotta get out of here. Track 3.
For everyone, it seems that the call is...
Go to the ER after burping. Hold on, I gotta go to the hospital.
It came in the form of a song.
Is that your voice?
For as he stood amidst the growing crowd of weeping people, he began to realize that they were
Nice.
not shedding tears of sorrow, but tears of joy. The song of worship that had filled the court.
That's a pretty iconic voice, honestly. It sounds very much like
with hope. Young Gregory.
like an
His
expositional
life until that very
fairy. I get not what I mean like fairy is like as in like if it was like Zelda, it would be like the fairy that has observed everything, you know what I mean, and seen everything.
also serve a purpose.
But I really do like interlude tracks that give a bit of a storyline to it. It's fun. Okay. I'm gonna get right back to a story. We finished the beef jerky. Whew, what a process. But we're gonna let this keep playing just a little bit. I gotta go take a big pee. Ariana Jade, welcome to the Budget Call. Thank you so much.
No one ever really understood. But that's okay, because I didn't understand either. It's just a really good story to tell, if you know what I mean. So I'm telling that story. And I'm telling it through music. And one day, who knows, maybe I'll be knocking my fingers behind the neck of some big, tall, handsome man. Find myself in his arms, looking up at his strength, feeling my own femininity against him, and knowing that I'm safe and loved. Gregory was a good night.
2, 3, go! One, two, three, fake email. 1, 2, 3, freak a leak. All right. I'm going to link. Actually, should we link your YouTube instead? Is it Alicia, right? Am I saying it right? Alicia Shepherd? Shepherd. Sheepherd. The best of Alicia Shepherd, 4 years ago. Is it Dory? What's the YouTube channel? You can just link USA. Puts. Oh, okay. Crap, we had it. Oh, there it is. So wait, unlocking new realms on YouTube. Do you have? Oh, and then. Interesting. Yeah, I'll just link that. So that's your website to everything. So you got games on there too. Got any games? Crazy. Do you listen to Brian Eno ever? Hey Dana, what's up? All right. Hey, thank you, Corey. Good to see you. She has wares if you have coin. The sounds next door. Okay. Yeah, these are actually pretty good stories so far, as far as Reddit compilation goes. Oh, this one should be solid. Never did listen to Brian Eno. That's okay. I wouldn't say Brian Eno's overrated by any means. Sometimes ambient music in all of its glory doesn't keep you locked in as much as you'd like, you know? And it kind of makes sense why people were able to put out like 16,000 albums of ambient stuff sometimes. Kenny G. Okay. Creepy naked guy stole my pizza. Here we go. This happened a few hours ago, and I'm not scared anymore, just angry my pizza got stolen. In my town, there's a story that a guy has moved into the deep woods close to our town. I never believed it, as I go for night drives occasionally and never saw him or anything resembling a man that lives in the woods. Anyway, tonight I decided to go for a drive and drove past a pizza place, and being hungry I decided to... Anyway, tonight I decided to go for a drive and drove past a pizza place, and being hungry I decided to get a pizza before I went home. In my head I had a plan to eat pizza and play some Minecraft, as I'm in my 2-week Minecraft phase at the moment. I paid for my pizza and started walking to my car with the pizza in one hand and my phone in the other, messaging my friend if he wants to play some Minecraft when I get home. I look up from my phone to cross the road to the car park, and I see something under my car. It looks like a shadow or something dark. I put my phone in my pocket and pull out my keys. Unlock the car to scare off anything close to the car, and I was thinking it may be a cat or a dog just hanging around my car. But when I unlock the car, nothing happens. No cat running away, and nothing running away. The shadow looked like it was cast from the driver's side, so I was going to have to look at what it was, whether I wanted to or not, to get in. I put my keys away and pull out my phone again and turn the flashlight on to see better in the dark. As I turn towards the driver's side of my car, I see him. A dirty, naked guy with big eyes staring right at me. He was crouched down, trying to hide from me. Now, I don't usually get scared of anything, but this guy terrified me. He looked like he rolled around in mud and it dried out on his skin, and his eyes looked creepy, bloodshot, and kind of bulging out of his head. And of course, he was naked. I get startled and jump backwards out of instinct, dropping my pizza in the process. It falls out of its box and onto the floor. I start moving back slowly and shout at him to get out of my car. He looks up at me, then at the pizza, then back at me. He tilts his head to one side and then jumps towards the pizza like a dog, grabs it and starts running away down the road, and I assume he ran all the way to those woods. I wouldn't know where he went as I didn't feel like following him. I lock my car and run back to the pizza place to stay there for a bit. The workers obviously don't believe me when I tell them what had just happened, but I know what I saw. And once the fear subsides after a while, I realize that this guy just stole my pizza. Angry as I was looking forward to it, I decided to get another one and run to my car this time. I get in, put the pizza on the passenger seat, and go home. Once I got home, I locked all my doors and windows, and I even locked my bedroom door as I feel a little scared still. I think I'll be playing Minecraft until the sun comes up. That's funny. Wait. Yeah, everyone in that story was naked. It was the delivery driver. Once I got home, I locked all my doors and windows, and I even locked my bedroom doors. I feel a little scared still, and I think I'll be playing Minecraft until the sun comes up. That's gonna become a meme right there. Yeah, I think I'll be playing Minecraft until the sun comes up. Made a resource pack for Minecraft called Snow Zone. I stopped updating when Micro Shaft bought Mojang, though. Interesting. What was it? It's like snow texture stuff. Minecraft, anyone? We staying up late? Probably eating a little pizza. Get a pepperoni slice. It replaces every sound effect, song, and texture in the entire game up to version 1.12. That's crazy. Huh. Yes, no, my email is letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. You can usually link down below every video too if you need to find it. But yeah, I would love to talk more about, I don't know, maybe making something cool. This happened 6 to 7 years ago. No, free. Oh my gosh. Free question got me jog my memory. Okay. This happened 6 to 7 years ago. I played soccer for 1 year in community college after high school, and I knew this guy because he worked for the athletics department and he was another student. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I had a 1-hour gap between classes. This guy noticed me in the library and asked what I was doing there, and I told him I had an hour-long gap, and he started coming regularly to hang out. I didn't mind because he seemed like a normal guy. He wasn't waiting for anything, but he just wanted to hang out. He brought me little gifts a few times, like chocolate and stuff, and he was being a little too sweet for someone I barely knew, and I really didn't think about red flags. With the gifts, I remember he always downplayed it. He would say something like, they had extra Kit Kat bars today in the office. Do you want some? And he never said that he purposely bought Kit Kat for me. I know a lot more about boys now than I knew back then, and I think that he knew that buying me gifts would be too much, but he still wanted to do it without doing it, I guess. The soccer season for us ended before Thanksgiving. The only teams that kept playing after that were going to the playoffs, not us. After Thanksgiving, we had finals. In that brief period after the soccer season and before Thanksgiving, he asked me about my classes for second semester. To be honest, I hadn't been super organized with course registration, and I honestly didn't know. Also, the counselors were completely clueless. I didn't tell him that, but I remember saying that I didn't want to have another gap hour like this because it wasted so much time, and I don't think he was happy to hear that. He also asked if I would play another session and season. Hey, Dark Queen, going good. Night is going good. He also asked if I would play another season, and I said no to that. I needed to manage my time better, and playing soccer every day was not helping. I think my mistake was that I just said too much and was kind of unfiltered, and I used to do that a lot back then, saying too much without thinking about how it affected other people's feelings. And that was on the last Thursday before Thanksgiving, so no more hour gaps to hang out anymore. We had Thanksgiving break, we took finals, and we had winter breaks, and everything was great. Winter break was when the real problem started, though. In the mornings, this guy literally showed up outside my house while sitting in his car. The first time I didn't believe it was actually him. The second time, I checked, and it was. And by then, it was really clear that we both knew what was going on. He was stalking me. And that wasn't all. I posted on my Instagram stories sometimes about the places that I was at, and this guy literally showed up there several times, like girly stores at the mall where he had zero business being. He did lots of things like that, and he also started pointing his phone at me like he was taking pictures, and that was even weirder. I basically stopped using social media, socializing media. Oops. Oh, there it is. I basically stopped using social media over this. After winter break, this continued, and when my parents were at work, this guy came during the afternoon, too. I called the cops a few times, and they went and tried to talk to him, and he basically told them that he wasn't going to talk, and that was it. I think the cops wanted to help, but they could never do anything because it was... Hey, Lila, what's up, dude? How you been? What you been up to? I think the cops wanted to help, but they could never do anything about it because he was careful not to break any laws. Like, he didn't trespass, he didn't make any threats, and he didn't show weapons. I have no idea what he's doing now. My guess is that he eventually gave up. Maybe his little obsession kind of became old and he found other things to pay more attention to. At least I hope so. But if he still comes by, I have no idea. I think the most frightening challenge in all of this is that I couldn't tell my parents since I knew that they would completely freak out. Been super busy with work, though. Yeah, is that a good or a bad thing? Like, if you suddenly didn't have work, do you think you'd be happier without work, or would you miss going to work? Like if you were homeless. No, not homeless. On the brink of homelessness. Oh, man. Oh, wait. Your arts. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to take a look at your art, too. Since we're here. What's this? The Knights Errant Chess Puzzle. It's a puzzle? Swap all the knights by clicking a knight you wish to move into the empty square. I'll swap them? Wait, did I... Do you have to drag them? Wait, was it? Swap all the knights by clicking a knight you wish to move into the empty square. Alright, it's alright, I'll do that later. We'll solve that puzzle later. I just wanted to see the art real quick, right quick. Where's that at? Offerings. We have to pay homage. I'd say a mixture of good and bad. It's nice getting a lot of hours because I need the money, but also working almost every day is so exhausting. Nice. What do you do now? You don't have to say if you don't want to. Just curious. Who's keeping Arby's in business? I don't know. I kind of like Arby's, but I never go because there's none around here. I've been there before, and I don't mind their sandwiches. It's just they're always like really dry. You know, you always like 100% have to like soak them in whatever juice they give you. Alright, we'll check that out later, sorry. Okay, this one's called Attempted Ambush. I do like their curly fries, you know, for the most part. This happened 4 years back. It was the middle of winter and the night was unseasonably warm, without a hint of snow on the ground. I left my apartment around 8 p.m. to go for my daily walk. I worked nights and my schedule was screwed up, hence the 8 p.m. walk, figuring I would cross the bridge into the city nearby. For further context, I'm a very tall guy who's fairly athletic, and I was in my late 20s at the time. I'd rarely had a problem walking at night, and at the time I felt safe doing so. I put on my headphones and headed towards the bridge. The first 20 minutes were uneventful. I passed by old houses, a subpar Mexican restaurant, a really good Mexican restaurant, a sketchy gas station, some newly built upscale apartments, and finally, I was at the river, enjoying the view of the bright lights over the dark flowing water, not yet frozen. I crossed the bridge into the city and hit a crosswalk button at a four-way intersection, and then noticed someone standing on the corner opposite, the only other soul I'd seen outside that night. Seemingly, she was doing nothing, and I assumed that she was waiting for an Uber to come pick her up, since she didn't seem to be waiting for the light to change. The street, ordinarily busy during the daytime, was completely silent. The light changed, and I crossed, headed in her direction. As I neared her, I noticed that she would cast glances in my direction and then look away, almost sheepishly. And she did this multiple times, and I figured that she was maybe unnerved by me. And I sympathized, figuring that it must have made her uneasy, us being the only two people on a very dimly lit street. As I passed by, I took in her outfit, mostly because I thought she looked cold, and she wore a knitted hat with tassels, a sweater that looked too thin for the winter, tight jeans, and a little plastic children's backpack on her back. I thought that maybe she was in her teens at first, but upon closer inspection she appeared to be in her late 20s or 30s. She had short-cropped, light brown hair and a pale complexion. She was skinny and was of average height. I was maybe a head taller than her, and I walked by and continued down the street. I passed by high-rise hotels on my right and left and made my way into a central park. During peak hours, this place would be packed with tourists and locals alike, but that day, at an odd hour with the pandemic in full swing, I felt like the only man in the city. I admired the brilliant display of lighted trees as I crossed through the center of the park, and then figuring I was at a good halfway point in my journey, I made my around... Note to self. Don't think about reading while reading. Like, never tell you. It's like when you're hitting like a perfect game in baseball, and someone's like, "Hey, you're hitting you're pitching a perfect game." It curses you. Remember that one guy who was like pitching a perfect game, but he was on like LSD or something? You guys remember that? He was drunk. And many, many beers. I don't know if it was him. That must be someone different. I just remember, like, this one dude was pitching a perfect game on LSD, and, like, he couldn't even see the home base or something. He was just, like, going based on, like, weird visual cues. I admired the brilliant display of lighted trees as I crossed through the center of the park. Then, figuring I was at a good halfway point in my journey, I made my way around an old marble and stone library back towards the bridge. As I turned the corner of the library back onto the street from which I'd come, I nearly collided with someone moving towards me. It was the same woman I'd seen not 10 minutes earlier. My noise-canceling headphones were still on, so I pulled down on one side and said something by way of apology. She said nothing in return. Instead, she stepped back from me and stood below a streetlight, not making eye contact. She stole tiny glances at me, that same tick that I'd noticed before, and I put my headphones back on and nodded goodnight and headed towards the nearest crosswalk. Reason told me that she must be heading in the direction I'd come from, since we'd nearly run into each other headed opposite ways, but some part of me whispered that she wasn't headed that way. And sure enough, when I turned to look, she was trailing closer behind me, her strides surprisingly long and energetic, and I found this odd that I continued to watch her out of the corner of my eye. Shortly after I reached the crosswalk, as I stood there waiting for the light to change, she caught up with me, passed me by, and stopped. A car went past, and as it did so, she squatted over her plastic bag a few meters from me, rifling frantically for something, looking up at me on occasion. I hit a button on my headphones, stopping my podcast so that I could hear her better. And what I found disturbing about the motion of her looking through her bag is that it struck me as fake, as though she were pretending for some reason. She was barely looking inside, and her careless motions struck me more like bad acting, and something about her motions, the way she kept looking at me, it all felt wrong. The light changed, and I began to walk quickly, but she was faster. She stood suddenly, darting past me towards the museum, swinging the half-open little pink backpack over her shoulder, and I watched her silhouette disappear into the darkness beyond the reach of the streetlights. I hoped that that was the end of that, and after a few beats of not seeing her, I let my guard fall a little, restarting my podcast. Beyond the museum was a patch of poorly lit sidewalk in front of a squat building with mirror-like windows. I wasn't far from the bridge now. As I made my way back there, I turned my head to look at the reflections of buildings and streetlights in the windows, and to my horror, a dark figure sprinted silently towards my reflection, dreamlike. I'm not sure why, maybe out of sheer confusion, but I turned to meet her as she hurtled towards me. Perhaps surprised by my sudden turn, she halted mere feet from me, staring. Her eyes were wide and looked frantic, wild, and she kept looking at my arms and then back at my face, as though sizing me up. My accidental bluff had worked, and in the darkness, I suppose I must have looked more prepared to fight back than I felt. Fuck. Thanksgiving burrito. That actually sounds really good. With like stuffing and turkey and... Oh my god, what else would you put in a Thanksgiving burrito? Oh my god. That sounds so good. Dude, if Chipotle did that just for like one day with like a bunch of random shit in there... Oh, where do you get that? Does that exist somewhere, a Thanksgiving burrito? I guess you could make your own. Fuck, that sounds really good. Got a question for the chicks. Do y'all see it as hella feminine if a guy hella cooks in the kitchen? I ask because I read some girls don't like guys that cook. I don't know why girls wouldn't like guys that cook. I don't even know. I mean, you got like Chef Ramsay and shit. I don't really think that a guy cooking would ever be like considered like an ick or like a turn off to any woman. Unless they cook better than her, and then maybe they feel bad about it or something. Exactly. Why would you want to be the only one cooking? It's a team effort. Stuffing, turkey, cranberry sauce, and mashed potatoes. Yeah, brother. Oh yeah, gravy on the top, like just like drizzled over top of the burrito. Fuck yeah, dude, sell that. Sell that shit at your restaurant that I know you own. Men who cook are top shelf. It's true. They are, aren't they? They are masters of the air fryer. And if anyone, male or female, otherwise cannot cook or do some other basic adult human function, there's a huge... Well, that's true too, yeah. I sound baked, yeah, I guess so. My brain is just permanently rotted. Permanently baconed. Oh my god, yeah, a little maple syrup on it too. Just to kind of tie it all together. Yeah, dude. Someone make that. Someone make it and take a picture on Instagram and tag me. I just want to see what it looks like. My accidental bluff had worked, and in the darkness, I suppose I must have looked more prepared to fight back than I felt. She gripped something small tightly in one hand, though she held it off to the side, and in the shadow of the building I couldn't see what it was. Seconds dragged as we stood there staring at one another. Immobilized by fear and confusion, I waited for her to make some move, to attempt to use whatever object that she had held in her hand. But then, to my enormous relief, a car trundled slowly past. Fuck. Have Americans had their Thanksgiving yet? We've not. I thought you said you live in Canada. That's right. It's going to be the 28th, so today's Thursday, right? It's going to be 2 weeks from now. Or no, 3 weeks from now. It's the last Thursday of every November, I think, right? Last Thursday. So next Thursday, the 14th, and the 21st, and the 28th. Don't exactly know how they chose the last Thursday, but that's always what it's been. It's called the Gobbler. I'll take a gobbler. I'll take 2 gobblers. Wawa has a hoagie that's, Thanksgiving hoagie fest. I don't even know if there's a Wawa around here, to be honest with you. I wonder how far a Wawa would be. My actual voice, yeah, this is it. A grumbler. They call me the grumbler. Because the words just grumble out of my mouth. Seconds dragged as we stood there immobilized. Okay, jeez. When am I going to read smut? I don't know. I'm sure at some point in my life I'll probably transition over into the adult stuff just to capitalize on the market. Well, honestly, who knows? If I have a family by then, they might not be too pleased with me doing that either, so... Appreciate you helping me through late night study sessions with your viewers. You're welcome. Good to see ya. Would you go through an app? I don't know. I mean, I know Patreon can do like not safe for work stuff. Maybe you can make it like a $50 tier on there or some shit. But then there's also obviously OnlyFans. But honestly, I don't know how. Like, let's ask ChatGPT. Can you do audio erotica on OnlyFans? Question mark. OnlyFans is a platform that allows creators to share content. What? However, creators must adhere to the platforms which prohibits certain non-consent. Well, regarding autoerotic audio. Jesus Christ. Can you do audio erotic narrations on OnlyFans? What the hell? Yes, you can share audio erotic narrations on OnlyFans. The platform allows creators to post various types of content, including audio recordings, as long as they comply with acceptable use policy. There you go. Well, give me 20 years when I'm broke, and we'll probably head that direction. Found the store that sells CBD sparkling water for only $1. I want to try it. Should I? I mean, if you want to. There's a lot of like random crap I've seen like infused with CBD. I've never tried that kind of stuff, but who knows? Maybe towards bedtime it could be relaxing or something. What about Quinn or Dipsy? I've never heard of Quinn or Dipsy. What is Quinn? Sounds dangerous. Seconds dragged as we stood there, staring at one another. Immobilized by fear and confusion, I waited for her to make some move, to attempt to use whatever object that she held in her hand. Just then, to my enormous relief, a car trundled slowly past. A bit of my strength returned, and over my blaring podcast, I felt more than heard myself shouting. I felt more than heard my... Okay. Why does that sound? I feel like this person is starting to get a little too descriptive. What's up, Rutsky? How you doing? You had THC dried apple slices. Delicious. Interesting. I prefer to do the cooking, but it can be really romantic to make a lasagna together. True. It's a team effort. I felt more than heard. I think he's trying to say like he felt the noise vibrations more than heard the noise vibrations because of the headphones that he had from his blaring, podcast in his ears. Just then, to my enormous relief, a car trundled slowly past. A bit of my strength returned, and over my blaring podcast, I felt, more than heard, myself shouting at her, "What do you want?" And there was no reply. I slowly backed away from her, expecting her to move, and she just watched me, that same intense look on her face. I took another step back, and then another, and steadily backing away from her until I felt confident enough to turn and carefully walk away. As I reached a better lit area, I began to move faster, all the while keeping my eyes trained on her shadowy form. She stood there for some time, statuesque, and then abruptly, having spontaneously abandoned whatever plan she may have had for me, she turned from me and, without looking for traffic, she crossed the street with long strides and disappeared around. Then abruptly, having spontaneously abandoned whatever plan that she may have had for me, she turned from me and, without looking for traffic, she crossed the street with long strides and disappeared around the corner of a building. Something about the casual air of it disturbed me greatly. I kept my eyes trained behind me on my walk home, afraid that she would follow me. The bridge was well lit, and I saw no signs of her. And knowing that this was the only way for her to follow me and keep up on foot, I breathed a sigh of relief. I saw no more cars headed from the city and no more pedestrians out walking. Nothing happened after that. I'm not sure why, but I didn't call the cops that night. I still regret not having called, despite my roommates insisting that I do so. I just remember thinking that I wasn't sure what to say to the cops, that I hadn't really been attacked, that they wouldn't be able to find her anyway, and I made up excuses. I suppose I must have been in shock, in denial at having been nearly ambushed, especially by someone smaller than me, in my own city, so close to my apartment. One of my roommates called the cops for me, and a cop drove through the area, but by that point, she was gone. And one of my roommates called the cops for me, and a cop drove through the area, but by that point, she was gone. Hey, Queen, take care. All right, we got one more story to go. This one's not super long, but I'm always cooked when reading. Everyone always thinks that I'm high or drunk or whatever the flick ever. But I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab my magnesium. Okay. Birthday. Whose birthday is it? Oh, Erica. Happy birthday to you. What are you gonna do for your birthday? Sent you a message on Insta, put that attention, making a video game. Okay, sweet. Yeah. Yeah, that would be sick. At least just to talk about it too would be neat. Appreciate that. High as fuck on the magnesia. The one thing whenever I used to get like actually high on marijuana when I was not that much, like sporadically, but I always remember when I was high, I would always think everyone else was high too. Does that sound weird? Not, like some people sit there and think like, oh, everyone's gonna know that I'm high. But there was always like a part of me, because I was like intoxicated, I would sit there and try to like, maybe necessarily like project, but I don't know, something like think that other people were on substances as well. And that was, I don't know why my mind always went that way. Joe just wanted to stream, but then he got high. Ooh doo doo. He smoked that fentanyl too, and then he got high. Saw dude. Alright, this one's not super long. I wonder how many words are in all these stories. I feel like there was a decent amount for like a full video. People are gonna you get scared. They're gonna know you're high. They're gonna know you're high, and their faces are gonna turn into demons, and then they're gonna say, "You're stuck like this forever. You're stuck like this forever." Remember the demons from Exorcism of Emily Rose? It was like everywhere she looked, like people's faces would turn into demons. That looked not very fun. Birthday in 10 days, what are you gonna do? What you got planned? Before I get into what happened, sorry for the storytelling. I've just never been a great writer, and that being said, last night my friends and I went to the movies in hopes of watching Joker 2. We hadn't bought the tickets online, and unfortunately we got there just after the doors closed. But because we were already there, we decided to see what else was playing within the hour and decided on the Terrifier 3. None of us had heard of the Terrifier before, but it sounded interesting enough. However, soon after the movie started, I immediately felt my stomach drop. About 5 months ago, I went on a run at a park my aunt recommended to me. She told me how it had a great trail, and because it was finally getting warm, I decided to go even though it was out of the way from where I live. As I entered the parking lot, I began to feel excited because I understood why she raved about it. Although it wasn't the biggest, there was clearing. The Jocker. The Jonkler, too. Dude, I'll be honest with you, I legitimately was... The Jonkler 2 was honestly one of the movies I was, like, excited to go see. I don't know what, because the first one was just good. It was just like a straight up, like, slow build movie, and then it got really cool, like tying itself into the Batman universe and stuff. And then, and then all I heard was terrible thing after terrible thing after terrible thing about it. And it kind of just seemed like the director, whoever, just sort of sabotaged the writing of it or whatever, and just completely tanked it. And so I didn't ever go see it, which is really sad. Heath set the bar so high. I mean, that definitely didn't have to do with why the movie was bad, because what's his name, Joaquin Phoenix did a fantastic job in the first one portraying that character. Wonquill. His name is Wonquill Phoenix. And David, thank you for the 2. Heath was overworked. Yeah, he was unfortunately addicted to opiates. Yeah, I think he was also like fighting for custody of his daughter too. Did he die of an overdose? Is that how he died, or what happened with him? Te amo. They made the second movie to humiliate you. Even escapism is not escapism anymore. That's what it feels like with a lot of stuff. I don't really get it. It just seems like they must have so much fucking money, these like investment groups, that they can just like sabotage all forms of escapism just to like taunt people. It's fucking weird, because it can't keep going on, can it? Or can it? I don't know. Like, something has to give. But I guess that's where like independent developers and independent movie makers come in to like start making like good shit that way. What do you think of Hell House? Oh, I don't think I've seen that. Although it wasn't the biggest, there was a clearing with picnic benches, gazebos, and a cute playground full of kids. However, it was surrounded by a big forest, which was where the trail was located. About 15 minutes or so into my run, my headphones' battery was getting low, so I paused to put them in my pouch. As I was taking them off, I noticed something out of the corner of my eye and turned to look into the trees. Peering into the forest, I saw a clown standing beside an old beige Toyota while holding a balloon bouquet. We made eye contact with the... clown. What the fuck? We made eye contact for what felt like an eternity, and I immediately turned around and ran back toward the parking lot without so much as a second thought. The scene instantly set off alarm bells, as I've always... The scene always set off alarm bells, as I've always been a huge true crime nerd, and I cannot even begin to describe how terrified I felt in that moment. By the time I got in my car, my lungs were burning, and it felt like my heart was going to leap out of my throat. But as I turned on the ignition, I realized that the big group of kids were celebrating a birthday in the gazebo. And I had never felt so relieved. It was clear that the clown was meant for their party, what with his balloons and costume, and I laughed to myself even though I was still on edge, and silently drove home feeling like an idiot. I had forgotten about the incident up until last night when I saw the clown in the movie's costume. Oh. was dressed as the... Well, it's not even a clown, it's a mime, isn't it? The character from the Terrifier. Yeah, this is 2016. That's crazy. Is that how far back that clown thing was? I think that's what's so... dude, it is so weird to me that how long it's been. 2016 was like Trump's like first term, right? And then like and you kind of remember most of it, I guess, but then like all of Biden's term. Dude, I cannot remember these past 4 years at all. It's so weird. I can remember it, but it just seems like it went by so fast. I don't even... And there's like no like clear indicators as to like kind of distinguish time, I guess, or like determine kind of like milestones or whatever. I'm not even sure. Yeah, Art the Clown. Oh, is he Art the Clown? I thought he was Mime. Fart the Clown. The past 4 years have gone super long for you? Oh, okay. Yeah, that would make sense too. Everybody's experiencing it differently. I had forgotten about the incident up until last night, but when I saw the clown in the movie's costume... my God. I had forgotten about the incident up until last night. When I saw the clown in the movie's costume, I felt sick. The man I saw in the forest was wearing that same outfit. I don't know for sure whether this character's costume is unique to the movie or not, but after trying to look up similar costumes, I'm fairly certain it is. Everything was the same, even down to the stupid little hat. And I'm freaking out and don't know what any of it means. If I did come across some guy dressed as a fictional clown killer, why were they wearing it? And why is the empty part... What the fuck, dude? If I did come across some guy dressed as a fictional clown killer, why were they wearing it? And why in the empty part of an old park? A big part of me hopes that it was just some sort of twisted prank, but if that were the case, why wouldn't he go somewhere where he knew people would see him? And after watching the movie, I wouldn't be surprised if there were sick freaks out there who morbidly idolized Art the Clown. Alright. Yeah, I genuinely don't really like Art the Clown. And I can't tell if it's because I find him creepy or just like frustrated with, I don't know, looking at his face. It's just gross. But I guess that's what it's supposed to elicit. It's just like if ever there was like a movie monster that I want to like explode and go away forever, it's definitely Art the Clown. Alright, outro, baby. You guys gotta think of something cool for me to say on our way out. Milky the Clown? What about Seaman the Clown? Do you guys remember Seaman? It's me, Seaman the Clown. Don't bust a balloon, bust a nut. Oh, Coriag. Hope I'm saying that right. Let me know. Thank you so much for the 5 gifters, too. Naur Ferratu, Hazel Oldham, Ravenous. The Hawk. Is the Hawk even here? And hey. You should read The Fire of Ashurbanipal. Ashurbanipal. What is that? I feel like I'm getting baited into a joke here. Hot dogs are tacos. Please make me a Thanksgiving burrito. Pee Wee Herman passed away recently? What? He was doing what he loved. Jerking off in a movie theater. to stay and hang out longer with us. Yeah, you know, I might, honestly. I would hang out with you guys longer here for a little. Well, it's 3 a.m, huh? Shit. And I gotta get a shower and go to bread. Jorkin his peanuts. I don't know what else is. Pee Wee Herman was jorking his Pee Wee German. His Pee Wee was squirming while he was jorking it. You'd give me a wedgie? Dude, you would go straight to jail. I have to drive home, shower, make breakfast, and pack lunches, and blah, blah, blah. You have to do all these things. I go to an office to stream. That actually would be kind of interesting. I wonder if there are any streamers or like YouTube people who like specifically have their production stuff like away from their home. Oh yeah, Justice for Peanut. That's a good one. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. EST, and there are super fun live streams on Sundays and Wednesday nights. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to over... Dude, my head is so discombobulated. If you got a story, be sure to submit them over email at letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks for members of the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories and big compilations located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, justice for Peanut. You know what I was thinking? You know how like in every stupid fucking scenario ever, no matter what it is, if it's popular to talk about, like, we will find a way to like hyper politicize it or whatever. I just, you know, if conservatives like it, Democrats hate it. If Democrats like it, conservatives, whatever. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. I would just think it would be so funny if for whatever reason, like liberals just like chose to like hate Peanut. They were like proud and like screaming that Peanut, like really happy that Peanut is dead. Like no reason at all. They just like chose to politicize the death of Peanut. I don't know. Maybe they would call Peanut racist or something. I think Peanut was racist though, guys. So, and that might have actually been the reason why he was arrested in the first place, for being racist. He said something about migrants on Facebook or something, and like the police in New York had to come shoot him in the head. So just keep that in mind for later. That's honestly what Kamala should have ran on to win, probably, is saying that she kept hardened criminals like Peanut off the streets. And unless you want lawlessness and just thousands of fucking racist squirrels running around town of New York, well, then vote for Trump. But if you want social media influencing disgusting bigoted squirrels like Peanut to have a platform on Instagram and to have them shut down and euthanized, that's what she should have ran on. I think that would have been killer. I should have been her manager, her campaign manager. We would have got it figured out. Yes, I do think Peanut the squirrel had connections to the Klan. I can't verify that. Don't take my word for it. That's just what I've heard. It's just what I've heard on Reddit and Twitter. Oh, all right, guys. Justice for Peanut. I will... yeah. Instead of a cob, it's a sob. All squirrels are bastards. I'm sure some people do think that, especially when the squirrels get into their like attic. All right, yeah. Well, there's wait, there's a dead raccoon too. You can't just kill everything, New York police. You can't just kill every animal, dude. Soon the New York police are just gonna show up at the Central Park Zoo with flamethrowers and just start blasting lions and fucking panda bears. Fucking just any sort of like the dodo bird's gonna be like, please, I'm back. And they're like, too bad. We went through your posts. We went through your post history and we saw that you were we saw you like something from Marjorie Taylor Greene or something. All right, dudes. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry it's a little bit of a shorter one, but hopefully these will be bangers. We'll get them up edited on Patreon first thing. It's only $1 a month over there for early access to the audio. You get it first over there for just $1. That's like $10 a year if you get the discount. But otherwise, love you guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for being fun and nice. Stay positive out there. And yeah, I'll be back streaming. What day is it? Wednesday? I'll be back streaming Sunday. I might even stream, if I got nothing going on this weekend, I might stream a video game or something Saturday. So be sure to hit the notification bell for when I go live. Otherwise, we'll get the video up on YouTube same time, same place, Mondays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Okay. Just take care of yourself. Don't eat too much bad food, and be sure to lift weights and exercise and all that kind of stuff so you can take on zombie hordes and also look really fucking hot while doing it. All right. Bye.